Shut your lame ass up, nigga.
Jujutsu Kaisen chapter 258 is out. There's a lot of meat to chew on in this chapter, so many crazy reveals. If you are a Yuji or Sukuna fan, you're eating well this week. Well, actually, Sukuna fans might have to worry a bit, but I'll get into that later. This chapter continues where we left off with Yuji spamming black flashes on Sukuna. Honestly, I was expecting a perspective shift to the battle between Hikaru and Urame, but the fact that Gege is continuing to hold off on giving us updates on that battle leads me to believe that he will align that battle's conclusion with Sukuna's defeat. The narrator explains that similar to Gojo, Sukuna was supposed to have regenerated his severed hands thanks to being in an awakened state thanks to Black Flash. However, because of Yuji's 7 Black Flashes that struck the boundary between Megumi and Sukuna's soul, reverse curse technique is no longer possible. That means that in chapter 257, the people who theorized that Sukuna landed a Black Flash on Yuji were correct. Yuji landed 7 Black Flashes instead of 8 like most thought. This also means that Yuji straight up tanked a Black Flash against Sukuna, which is just more Yuji upscale in regards to his durability feats. The MVP was unfazed by the King of Curses. However, in standard JJK fashion, Sukuna has something up his sleeve and activates his domain expansion. Sukuna is even using the hand sign for Unlimited Void for this. The man stole from Gojo's bag, which is pretty funny. This was done through the use of Sukuna's rush of Black Flashes and improvised Binding Vows. I've seen people call this lazy writing, that Sukuna's usage of Binding Vows throughout this arc have been ass pulls. I disagree because Gege has been consistent with Binding Vows throughout this arc. Sukuna's Binding Vow for the World Slash resulted in nerfing the ability to the point where if not for that Binding Vow, the entire cast would be dead in a single panel. And we later learn in this chapter that Sukuna's domain is incomplete and can only be maintained for 99 seconds. So I think people need to chill on immediately throwing around the term ass pull whenever Sukuna does something. Now, my favorite part of this chapter is the flashback we get of Jujutsu High having a strategy meeting during the 1-month time skip. There's a funny moment between Hikari and Maki. Maki really is that friend who just wants to be involved in the conversation when they aren't needed. Chozo then goes on to discuss reverse curse technique, which gives us confirmation that because of Yuji absorbing the cursed wombs, Yuji's body has now become similar to Chozo, meaning the main limiting factor behind the ability doesn't apply to them. Yuji is shaping up to be one of the best users of reverse curse technique in the verse. This chapter really is just another gift to Yuji fans. And this leads into the reveal that it was actually Wiwi who had the soul swap ability, not Yuji. The plan was to have Yuji swap souls with Kusakabe in order to improve curse technique manipulation and learn simple domain. So Yuta was right when he said that they cheated, because this is some hyperbolic time chamber school of training. Yuta probably swapped souls with Hikari in order to master shifting barrier coordinates. It's also revealed that Wiwi can only do this with the permission of both parties. I saw a lot of people calling Wiwi's curse technique a plot hole because he should have used it on Sukuna and Megumi. Now we have a reason why that shouldn't be possible. Plus, Wiwi would probably just end up like Mahito if he tried interacting with Sukuna's soul. So there's no reason to risk an integral asset during this battle when Yuji is more effective towards the tasks of saving Megumi. People saw the leaks for this chapter and started screaming bad writing before the full chapter came out. Situations like this are why I'm starting to move away from leak culture, because it just results in people jumping to conclusions before the full picture is presented. The manga is not intended to be consumed that way. All it leads to is tons of misinformation and extreme opinions formed on content you don't fully understand.
What do you mean? How? How have you? Oh man, you're just ruining it. Look at my lips. You're ruining it. Ruining the fun for the next man.
Like, the amount of people that I still see saying that Sukuna's domain expansion in this chapter was combined with the 10 shadows because people online were posting fake leaks. It's just, that is just why, like, leaks, just, I'm not trying to get involved in that anymore, really. Regardless, I love that this is the reasoning for how characters improved over the time skip. It's a neat interaction of abilities and makes the cast look competent, because as we learn more about the time skip, they really thought everything through and utilized their time effectively. It also makes sense why Gege didn't reveal everything in the time skip right away, because if we spent chapters foreshadowing everything before Gojo versus Sukuna, then these current moments wouldn't hit as hard. We then get to see Yuji, Chozo, Ino, and Miwa use simple domain. It seems Miwa is protecting Maki in this panel, so I like how Gege is finding ways to utilize everyone in this arc. Also, thanks to the flashback, I think this confirms that Ino learned reverse curse technique, so more upscaling for the Shiesty sorcerer. Unfortunately, Yuji's domain breaks and is caught by the slashes. When the leaks for this chapter dropped, leakers made a huge deal about Yuji losing a leg, even though in the same panel, Yuji just reattached the limb similarly to Chozo during his fight against Kenjaku. Just another reason why leak culture is kind of mudded, because this moment was exaggerated to hell. The thing people should be talking about is the fact that Yuji can just reattach limbs without difficulty. The more this fight progresses, the more Yuji becomes a durability monster, and this new feat can translate offensively too. But enough Yuji glazing, because the cliffhanger for this chapter was crazy.
You can't keep getting away with it!
To add even more pressure, Sukuna unleashes the flames of death. The furnace opens. The Sukuna kitchen theories are all but confirmed, so I guess when Yuji unlocks furnace for himself, the interpretation will probably be a microwave. Now, my understanding of this scene is that Yuji's simple domain broke just before the 99 seconds of Malevolent Shrine ended, which is why Yuji mentions that the slashes stopped and the Jujutsu High endured the attacks. Leading into my theory that Sukuna whipped out this incomplete domain expansion as a stalling tactic to bring out the fire arrow. It also keeps his opponents compact in one area, so Sukuna can now just unleash the attack and nuke everyone. Now, a lot of people are using this situation to bring up the Sukuna cycle again. I'm hearing statements like, Gege is back to glazing Sukuna, Gege couldn't let Yuji have an MC moment for a chapter, and Jujutsu High is finished. Like, everyone, let's be 100% serious. Personally, I'm not seeing how this current situation is hopeless for Jujutsu High. Sukuna had to use an improvised, incomplete domain expansion this chapter, and it left no severe damage on the cast. Sukuna is being pushed to use his full power. This entire chapter felt like the beginning of the final phase in the Sukuna raid. Also, keep in mind that Yuji still has more to show us. There's potential for Yuji to awaken another curse technique, Kaori Itadori's anti-gravity system. Plus, Yuji will undoubtedly gain more control over the blood manipulation and shrine techniques as the fight progresses. I think a lot of people forget that at the end of the day, Jujutsu Kaisen is a shonen series, and in typical shonen fashion, the fact that Sukuna decided to play with his food is what will be his undoing. The start of the chapter drives this point home even further. It's only a matter of time before Sukuna's defeat, and as we learn more about his abilities, the clock begins to tick. So if you're thinking about selling your Yuji stocks, I would advise not to. The situation is far from hopeless. Overall, I think this chapter was great. Like, JJK continues to cook. The Shinjuku Showdown arc is just, this is prime JJK right now. When this arc ends, it will go down as better than Shibuya. I'm saying that now because really Gege is on a hot streak right now.
Hey McQueen, you alright? Listen, don't you worry, pal. You had a good run. Enjoy your retirement.
And if he continues cooking like this, I will not have to hear about this Shibuya top on art nostalgia anymore. We done with Shibuya! But I look forward to hearing your thoughts in the comments below. If you stuck around till the end of the video, I just want you to know that I appreciate you. And if you want to talk to me about anime related topics, join my Discord server. Also consider becoming a channel member, another way to support me and I support you back with shoutouts at the end of the video, early access to new videos, custom emotes, and members only videos depending on which level of membership you decide to choose. And if you're someone that enjoys anime content that keeps it real, consider subscribing so when I hit 10K, you can brag about being a day one. I gotta get back in the kitchen to cook. Peace.